We'll actually need an Allen wrench. It's not the same size. So just loosen that up a bit, and we can then adjust this to straighten it back out. And we'll keep this handy for a bit because we're going to need to tighten that back down once we get the handlebars inserted into the neck. And it's a little cold tonight, so I'll put my gloves back on. And I will be using an electric screwdriver here to remove these. It just makes it a lot easier. There are washers on here, so be careful not to drop those on the floor, otherwise they'll roll for miles and you'll never see them again. And you only have to really remove 3 of them, because at that point it can rotate freely. You can bring the handlebars back in, and at that point there is a method and a madness to bringing this around and making sure that all your wires aren't tangled up. So in general, you can put the wires on either side of the headset, and then they'll kind of thread through here. So as you can see, I've got 3 of the wires on the left-hand side of the bike, and I've got one of the one of the cable housings on the right-hand side. At which point, I'll take this, and because the handlebars are more narrow towards the ends, you can actually flip it back out like that and then slide it into the center. At which point, center the handlebars in the neck, and then take your Allen bolts and begin to insert them back in. Reverse the wrench slowly so you don't strip anything. And they've all been nicely slathered with Loctite, so that will help them stay in place. Now, I'm not going to tighten these down all the way because the handlebars and all the rest of the gear on the bike will also require some adjustment. I tend to adjust these out a little bit. The Mongoose Vinson only comes in 1 frame size, and that is a medium. So the medium frame size, for me, being 6 feet tall, requires a little bit of adjustment. So I tend to move the bars to the point you can see there's a bend right here, and so I'll put that not even facing straight up. I'll actually move it out to about say 1 o'clock. If that straight up and down is 12, you can see that's say 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock. I'll move it out to 1 o'clock, and it also gives me a better angle on that. What this will also do is put the brake levers facing downward here, and that is it's a nice touch, because ergonomically speaking, your hands tend to lay, or my hands rather, tend to lay on the bars more like that. So I'm going to tighten that down just a bit on 2 of these. I'm going to have to come back and tighten that up later. The next thing I'm going to do is take the seat post, and I'll pop the seat out. Nice little M emblem on there, and I will adjust the seat lever, and I will pop that right on in there. And there's a tightening wheel on the other side here, so you can actually tighten that down a bit by twisting it just by hand. And then pop the seat in there, line it up more or less straight, and close the clamp on it. This will then allow me to remove the hook from the frame, and I can hang it right here by the seat. So the next thing we're going to do, take the front wheel and bring the front wheel into the forks and basically drop the brake disc in through the brake caliper, at which point I will take the quick release and I will line it up and let the weight of the bike sit on it. You can see now that the forks are, rather the tire is pretty much centered in between the forks on either side. So at that point I know that the axle is sitting within the forks. So I'll begin to twist this around until there's a little bit of friction at the top here. And once I get it about to the point where it starts to catch right there, I'll tighten it a little bit more and then I'll twist it around. I like my brake caliper going this way. That's the way when I'm hitting stuff in the woods, whatever happens to bounce off that is not going to release the lever for me. And I'll put the hook back in here on the bike and hoist it up a bit more. So now we've got just about everything set to go except for the pedals. And the pedals can be done with a wrench, but generally a pedal tool is a better way to go. This is a specific pedal tool because you can see this isn't very wide, so it's kind of tough to get a wrench in there. Now the weird thing about pedals, if you haven't done them before, is that they are direction sensitive. So you will see there's a right on this one, and there's a right on this pedal. It tells you which way to twist it. And so in this case, you turn the pedal clockwise in order to thread it in. And that is counter rotation to, and at that point I can just hold on to it and I can pedal the crank backwards. Obviously you don't have any any power going to the pedal when you're pedaling backwards. So that's why your pedals are going in, because when you're pedaling forward, you don't want them to unscrew. And a few more turns and that's now tight. And so that pedal on, good thing. We'll take the bike off of the rack and turn it around the other way. Hang it back up on the hook. And I've just got these hooks that are hanging from the top of my garage door. And so then this is a left pedal, and you can see that has got to go in counterclockwise, which once again will be the rotation of and counterclockwise. I may have to take my glove off for this one. Just to get it started. And there we go. And so once again, you start pedaling backwards and you just hold that wrench there. It's a lot easier than twisting a wrench around it. And 2, 1, and there we go. And there you go. So about the only thing left to do now is adjust the brakes and adjust your gearing and all that kind of stuff. But there essentially is twin Mongoose Vinsons out of the box and ready to go. Enjoy your riding, ride safe, have fun year round. Ride these things in the snow all the time when the snow comes here around winter, and they are a blast. All right, have a great evening.